This episode comes to you in the form of an audiobook. Have you ever felt like you're talking, but no one is truly listening? Does your hard work often go unnoticed, no matter how much effort you put in? If you've ever felt overlooked in your personal or professional life, you're not alone. According to Vanessa Van Edwards in her book Cues, this could be because you lack charisma. Charisma is the key quality that makes others pay attention to you. In her research, Van Edwards found that most of us are unknowingly undermining our own charisma. She explains that without charisma, you can't effectively communicate or connect with others, and that can hold you back in every area of life. The good news is that even if charisma doesn't come naturally to you, you can learn to convey it by adopting charismatic cues. For Van Edwards, charisma isn't magic. It's simply the science of small verbal and nonverbal signals that influence how others perceive you. On this episode, we'll break down exactly how to become charismatic. First, we'll explore what charisma really means and how verbal and nonverbal cues reinforce or undermine it. Then, we'll examine which specific cues you should adopt and which ones you should avoid, depending on your personality. Hopefully, by the end of this episode, you'll know what to do to start projecting a charismatic image that gets people to notice and value you. When you enter a room full of strangers, it only takes a few seconds for people to form an opinion about you. They don't know your name yet, but they've already decided whether you come across as confident, approachable, or someone worth engaging with. This instant judgment happens because of the cues you unconsciously send to those around you. Vanessa Van Edwards calls these cues the secret language of communication. She explains that every subtle signal we send, whether it's our posture, eye contact, or the way we walk, communicates more than we often realize. These cues tell the world, "This is who I am," even before we open our mouths. Van Edwards explains that every conversation is a cues contest. We are constantly judging the cues of others while they are judging ours. Think about it. You meet someone at a party. If they give you a limp handshake and avoid eye contact, your brain automatically whispers, "Not confident." Now, here's where it gets interesting. Van Edwards discovered that the most charismatic people have mastered the art of balancing two types of cues: warmth and competence. Warmth cues are the ones that make people trust you. They're your smiles, open gestures, and friendly tone of voice. Competence cues, on the other hand, make people respect you. They're about standing tall, speaking clearly, and showing confidence. The key is finding the sweet spot between warmth and confidence. Van Edwards explains that warmth earns trust, and confidence earns respect. Together, they create charisma. Let's break this down. Imagine you're in a job interview. You want to come across as capable, someone who knows their stuff. That's competence. However, if you're too focused on sounding smart and forget to smile or show some personality, the interviewer might think, "Okay, they know their stuff, but do I want to work with them?" In this scenario, you've nailed confidence, but are missing warmth. On the flip side, picture someone who's bubbly and friendly but can't answer basic questions about the job. Sure, they're likable, but the interviewer will be left wondering, do they actually know what they're doing? Too much warmth without competence will leave people questioning your abilities. Too much competence without warmth will make people feel intimidated by you. A charismatic person is like a big brother, someone you look up to as a mentor, yet also someone you genuinely care about. The perfect example of this balance is Keanu Reeves, the internet's favorite human being. Why do people love him so much? Because he's mastered the balance between warmth and competence. On the competence side, he's an exceptional actor completely dedicated to his craft. On the warmth side, he's humble, approachable, and treats everyone from co-stars to fans with kindness. Vanessa Van Edwards breaks it down even further with what she calls the 4 levels of charisma. It's like a roadmap to figure out exactly where you stand and where you might need to level up. Let's start at the bottom. No charisma. This is where warmth and confidence are both missing. You come across as cold, uncaring, and incompetent. Even if that's not true, you might be the smartest, kindest person in the room. But guess what? If you're not showing it through your cues, people won't see it. The next level is some charisma, but high confidence and low warmth. This is where many professionals land. If you're someone who values expertise, you're likely sending out competence cues. People respect you for your skills, but without any warmth. You may appear cold and intimidating. Then there's the opposite. Some charisma with low competence, but high warmth. Here, the problem is that warmth without competence can feel unreliable. People love spending time with you, but they may not count on you or see you as a reliable person. Finally, the ultimate level is when you have a high level of charisma, high competence, and high warmth. This is where trust and respect meet, and it's why highly charismatic people inspire collaboration and loyalty. People want to work with you, and they trust you to lead. So, how do you move up the charisma ladder? That's where the real work begins. According to Vanessa Van Edwards, it's absolutely possible to level up, no matter where you're starting from. Charisma isn't a fixed trait. It's a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice. First, you need to figure out your starting point based on the 4 levels of charisma I've just explained. Next, you need to understand how to dial up the cues you're missing based on the situation and the individuals you are interacting with. Generally speaking, most people will know where they stand on the 4 levels of charisma. If you don't know, then take a moment to ask yourself, am I naturally warmer, more competent, or struggling with both? You need to be honest with yourself. Maybe you're the friendly, approachable type who lights up a room but freezes when it's time to present your ideas. Or maybe you're the hyper-focused expert whose sharpness commands respect but keeps people at arm's length. Knowing where you are is key. Van Edwards gives an easy exercise to help you balance warmth and confidence. She calls it the friend and expert test. After any interaction, ask yourself, did I make them feel like I'm their friend? Did I show that I know what I'm talking about? If the answer to both is yes, then you're on the path to mastering charisma. For example, if you're pitching an idea, start with a relatable story or a joke to build a connection. Then, deliver your facts and figures with clarity and confidence. Think of warmth as a way to open the door, and confidence as the reason people want to walk through it. The cues you use don't have to be grand gestures. Simplicity is key. For example, if you want to convey warmth, all you need to do is make the other person feel appreciated. A simple smile, nodding when they speak, or maintaining eye contact can go a long way. If you want to show confidence, you need to speak and act with confidence in what you're saying. It's about your tone of voice and how you articulate yourself. You also need to pay attention to your micro-expressions and body language, not just your words. When your micro-expressions and body language align with your words, people trust you. But when they don't, people will always believe your body over the words you say. That's because, before you even say a word, your body is already communicating. In fact, research shows that up to 93% of communication is nonverbal. Your body speaks before you do. Micro-expressions and body language can reveal warmth, confidence, or discomfort in the blink of an eye. So, what are micro-expressions? They're those lightning-fast facial movements that reveal what someone is truly feeling. These expressions last less than a second, but they're packed with emotional information. For example, a genuine smile, what researchers call a Duchenne smile, activates not just the mouth but also the muscles around your eyes. If someone's smile doesn't reach their eyes, they're probably faking it, and believe me, people pick up on that. If you want to show warmth, practice letting your smile fully engage your face. It makes you instantly more approachable. Another key micro-expression is the raised eyebrows. Let's say you're telling a story, and the other person's eyebrows lift slightly. That's a good sign. They're interested. But if they furrow their brows or press their lips tightly, it might mean confusion or doubt. Micro-expressions are universal. No matter where you're from, a genuine smile or a look of disgust means the same thing. Now, let's talk about the rest of your body. Van Edwards reminds us that every movement you make sends a signal. Are you confident, approachable, or closed off? Your body also has to match your words to build trust. For example, if you're saying, I'm really excited to be here, but your arms are crossed, guess what? No one's buying it. Posture is another big one. Standing tall with your shoulders back not only makes you look more confident, but also makes you feel more confident. This is what Van Edwards calls power posing. Even if you're nervous, adopting a strong, open posture can trick your brain into feeling more in control. The most charismatic people are like chameleons, not in a fake way, but in their ability to adjust their cues to fit any environment. Charisma starts with awareness of the situation, the people, and what they need from you in that moment. Different people respond to different cues. To connect effectively, you have to understand what they value most. Some people may prefer warmth, and others may prefer confidence. When in doubt, Van Edwards recommends always starting with warmth. It's the fastest way to build a connection. Then, add competence to solidify trust and respect. Here's the thing, you don't have to be perfect to be charismatic. The goal isn't to become a completely different person. Charisma is about building real, meaningful connections. It's about making people feel seen, valued, and inspired. This is the kind of impression that leaves a lasting impact.